Hi, good morning.
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 Hey everyone. Hey all.
Kerala joins in a growing list of states that have said that they would vaccinate people for free.
Okay, I think we can start the session. So, just to start the session, we had the just an introduction session, like what is cloud and what is public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. We discussed, and we have discussed about the benefits and the features of the cloud, the advantages, and we discussed about what is AWS and Azure and Google Cloud and what is the best in the market that we discussed. And now we are going to discuss about the fundamentals, still the same fundamentals, with little few more things added to the fundamentals. Like on AWS side, uh, it's about how AWS has implemented and what is the AWS has in their environment. So to understand that, let us start with a concept called as what is data center. Does anybody know what is data center?
Yeah, in a very simple language, it's a place where we keep all the data.
Okay.
So on-premise data storage center.
Data center is a place where we store all kind of physical environments, which is called as network, physical network devices, physical storage, physical firewalls, and all physical hardware. Okay, so data center is nothing but a place where we store all kinds of physical environments like network devices, storage, firewall, and all kinds of physical hardware. Whatever we store, this is nothing but we call it as a data center. So in AWS, Amazon Web Services, they have they have so many data centers. So these data centers we call in Amazon, data center is called as availability zones. What is that we call? Availability zones. So here, to understand the AWS infrastructure, you need to understand three things. One is called as regions. Second one is called as availability zone. Third one is called as edge location. Region is nothing but a place or location where your data centers are located. In bracket, Mumbai is a location in India. Okay. Availability zone is nothing but a physical data centers. In bracket, in Mumbai we have Mumbai has three availability zones, which means they have how many? they have total 3 data centers. If one data center goes down, you have other data center. If other data center goes down, you have another data center. So like that, they have 3 data centers. And edge location. AWS has edge location. What is this edge location means in AWS? So remember here, edge location is nothing but edge location is basically called as network hubs to reduce the latencies and to give you the faster access over the internet. And these edge locations are connected, and across the globe there are different types of edge locations are there. These edge locations are nothing but we call it as network hubs to have better connectivity for your data centers and accessibility. Amazon is having this edge locations. Overall, in if you take in AWS, so AWS has more than 215 215 edge locations across the globe. AWS has, and the total regions they have 24 regions they have across the globe. 24 regions is nothing but locations. And availability zones means in each location some has 2 data centers and some have 3 data centers, some have 4 data center. On an average they have how many? 77 availability zones are there, and they have 245 countries they are supporting. And 245 countries is nothing but this AWS is supporting around 245 countries, and along with this 215 edge locations are there. So region is nothing but a place where your data centers are located. Availability zones are nothing but data centers. Edge location is nothing but network hubs for the better connectivity for your data center and accessibility. All together, a combination of data centers, combination of regions, availability zones, and edge location, we call it as AWS Global Infrastructure. What we call AWS Global Infrastructure. If anybody asks you what is AWS Global Infrastructure, what you need to say? It's a combination of edge locations, availability zones, and regions. Anybody has any questions in this?
Yeah, Samir, Siddharth this side. So I would like to understand, edge location particularly. Let's suppose if we have Mumbai as a location, uh, considering India as a region, and we have 3 availability zones. So how do we segregate edge location, or how do we categorize edge location?
So edge locations are nothing but network hubs. Let us assume
Uh, Samir, one question. So you mean to say, edge location in which, where end users can access the services, right?
no, I'll tell you. So I'm just drawing the picture. Let's assume this is Mumbai, and in this Mumbai they have data centers which is called as availability zone, right? There are how many data centers? 3 data centers.
3 data centers.
Now edge locations are nothing but network hubs. In India they have so many network hubs are there. We have in Delhi, we have in Mumbai, we have in Chennai, we have in Hyderabad, we have in Bangalore, we have in Kolkata, we have in Tamil Nadu. Like this we have different locations. There are edge locations are there. Now some XYZ user from Tamil Nadu or from the bottom of the map, he's trying to come from Kanyakumari, some XYZ user is trying to access. Let's assume from here some user is trying to access. Whenever he want to access, these edge locations are nothing but basically we call it as content delivery network solution, which is network hubs, which will allow you to give the connectivity to these data centers faster, because rather than going directly and connecting, they are going via these edge locations to get the faster connectivity and faster accessibility, and to avoid the latency. So this edge locations works as a content delivery network servers where the caching happens, and which provides you the faster connectivity and faster accessibility. So these kind of edge locations we have in India, we have around 5 to 6. We have edge locations. Globally, there are so many edge locations are there. In the background, they use a technology called as CloudFront. So CloudFront, what it does is that it reduces the loading time for that application to access, because it caches on the nearest edge locations for the faster delivery. So this is like a network hubs you can consider in your normal layman language. So which is very, very important, and it is spanned across multiple cities, not only in India, in across the globe. There are around 215 edge locations are there.
So, do we mean by this that, let's suppose if we have Bharti Airtel or Tata Communications as a service provider, uh, in terms of domestic, so Amazon ties up with them and they create those edge locations. Like
No,
suppose
they
they do
don't
have
create.
their data centers.
It is
From there, the
Amazon
customers
own
can
edge location.
directly, uh, have minimal latency and they can access AWS services. Is it so?
Yes. It is basically Amazon's own edge locations. Okay. And you can route the connections via your ISP. That is a different story. But these edge locations are Amazon's own edge locations.
Amazon's own edge locations.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, Samir.
Yes.
So, can we say in easy words that the edge location is a mediator between data centers and
The
the
service
accessible
provider.
person?
Yes.
Correct.
And you can
Right?
think in that way. Basically, it is edge locations are nothing but which feeds thousands of carriers, and which basically for the accessing the network, and to give you the full backbone of basically you can consider as AWS network backbone, okay, which provides the good throughput, and which delivers the content to end users with lower latency. Basically, to rather than giving the higher latency to lower latency, it is giving you the connectivity and caching across the locations.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it will reduce the latency for the end user access, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So you said one word, and that is cloud front, right?
Yes.
So it means is it a AWS service?
Yes, it's an AWS service,
Okay.
which is basically used for the caching purpose. The web
Okay.
caching technology is used in the background. So that you will get to learn when we talk about that service more detailed.
Okay. So if there are no edge locations, obviously then the end user will have to spend a lot of time while accessing any data
Yes, there will
with
be
data centers.
a loading time will be slow. So like for
Exactly.
example,
Yeah. There will be more latency.
yes, let's assume Flipkart is there. Just take an example.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you
Yeah.
just put one big billion offer. What will
Yeah.
happen? Everyone will start accessing that application, right? So just
Yeah.
imagine the load if it is directly going and hitting on the server, right? So in these edge locations, what it does is that it caches certain contents like static, dynamic, streaming. Certain contents will be caching on the nearest edge locations, basically on the locations what they have specified. Like we have in Mumbai, Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Kolkata, different locations. We have these edge locations. So it will cache and it will reduce the load time, and it gives the faster connectivity. So that is the reason they use this edge location. So basically, in a simple way, if you want me to explain, it's a reliable, low latency, high throughput network connectivity. You can put it in a single statement.
Okay. I got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now you know what is data center which Amazon provides, what is AWS global infrastructure, you are aware. Now, very important thing what you need to understand is that AWS shared responsibility model you need to understand. What you need to understand? AWS shared responsibility model. What do you mean by AWS shared responsibility model? Now, what is cloud computing? Yesterday I explained you.
Samir, sorry to interrupt you. Do we get a sequential syllabus or the content that you're telling us right now? Because it's very difficult to memorize everything or writing down at the same time.
Who's this?
Pramod.
Pramod, I have not started the actual session, Pramod. This is fundamentals. I'm just taking the initial and basics of cloud and cloud computing. The moment I start the AWS actual session, that time you'll have all the PPTs which are lying on my laptop. Okay, this
Okay.
is a basic fundamentals of what is what. Okay, so
Okay.
what is data center, what is virtualization, what is cloud. This is something which is prior to starting the AWS session I am taking. When I start the actual AWS class on the topic of service, that time you will have each and everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so yesterday we discussed about uh, a topic called as what is cloud computing. So that was what I was asking. So cloud computing means what I told you. I told any IT as a service which can be accessible via internet with pay as you grow model. We call it as cloud computing, right? So basically, what do you mean by shared responsibility model? It is very simple. Who owns what in the cloud is something called as responsibility model. So this is what you need to understand. Okay. Now cloud is providing you services, right? Cloud provides you infrastructure as a service. Cloud provides you software as a service. Cloud provides you, platform as service, right? Now let's assume I said, like, infrastructure as service also cloud will provide, software as service also cloud will provide, platform as service also cloud will provide. Now let's assume in the cloud there is a physical hardware went down. Will you own the responsibility? If any physical hardware, like Mumbai is one data center we have, right? Anything went down, will you own the responsibility?
No.
Right? Why you don't own? Because that is managed by Amazon.
It's Amazon.
Amazon need
Yeah.
to own. So you should know what is your responsibility and what is cloud responsibility, right? So to understand that, what you need to understand about the data centers, regions and availability zones, which you already explained you. What is a region? Region is nothing but location. What is availability zone is nothing but a data centers, and what is edge locations? Nothing but network hubs, which you already aware. Now to understand the responsibility model, you need to understand the architecture of cloud, how it has been set up, right? So if you take a globe, this complete a big globe across the world, every location means, like, it can be US, it can be Australia, it can be India. Like this, we have different countries are there. In every location, what exactly happened? So every locations are connected. They all are connected. In every location is connected one together via this connectivity of edge locations and everything. All these are connected, and in every location of this AWS, AWS uses all kinds of, means AWS data centers, nothing but we call regions. And in these regions, they have some physical servers. What they maintain? They maintain physical servers for the services. They have so many different types of physical servers are there. Service servers, like this, physical servers, they have so many physical servers are there. Now you might ask, what is this physical servers, right? So remember here, every country they are maintaining these physical servers. So many millions of physical servers are there. Now, what do you mean by these physical servers? So to any cloud to work, basically the background technology for the cloud is nothing but they use a technology called as virtualization. For any cloud technology to work, we use something called as virtualization. This is a background technology which is used for any cloud, whether you take Azure or whether you take Google Cloud, whether you take IBM Cloud, the background it requires is virtualization. Now, what is virtualization? Anybody has an idea?
Yeah, through via virtualization we can create multiple, but I mean virtual machines
Yes.
and computing resources. Yeah.
Yes. Virtualization is nothing but which transforms hardware into software. Virtualization is nothing but which transforms hardware into software, which makes your physical environment to deploy top of the machines. Means from the physical environment, you can try to deploy multiple virtual machines. That is the advantage of going with your virtualization technology. Okay. This virtualization technology, every cloud requires this virtualization technology. Same way, AWS also requires a virtualization technology. So across these data centers, what I told you, like Mumbai is one data center in India. We have, means Mumbai is one region, and we have Singapore one region, we have Virginia one region in US, we have UK, we have region. Like this, every region they have this virtualization software installed in their physical computers, nothing but physical hardware. So what is this virtualization software does AWS uses? AWS uses, right? AWS uses a software called as Nitro Hypervisor. What it uses? AWS uses a software called as Nitro Hypervisor. What do you mean by Nitro Hypervisor? Hypervisor is nothing but virtualization software which will allow you to deploy multiple operating systems, which means that in every AWS data center, let's assume this is my Mumbai data center. In Mumbai data center, they are maintaining the physical servers, and in all these physical servers, they are all physical servers are preloaded with what hypervisor? Nitro hypervisor. So all these physical servers which are maintained by AWS are preloaded with what hypervisor? AWS Nitro hypervisor. So this Nitro hypervisor is preloaded in all this physical hardware. Now the advantage of this is that it will allow you to deploy multiple operating systems. It will allow you to make multiple services. So this Nitro hypervisors are being deployed in AWS platform across the multiple locations in the globe, in the Singapore, in India, in US, UK, everywhere, wherever they have the data centers, there this Nitro hypervisors are preloaded. Now this hardware, who is going to manage this complete physical hardware, physical connectivity, physical storage, everything is managed and maintained by AWS. You no need to worry, this server went down, what should I do? It's not your job. It will be managed by Amazon. The VM went down, then it's your responsibility. The VM is not working, your responsibility. The application is not connecting, your responsibility. The network, there is some issue on the connectivity, your responsibility. But the physical layer is the complete responsibility of AWS. Any physical layer, the physical data center went down, physical connectivity went down, physical storage devices are went down. Anything which happens at the data center level, that will be responsible with your AWS people, not with anyone. Okay. Now you will have a doubt, sir. You said Nitro hypervisor, you said hardware. So which hardware does AWS uses? Does they use IBM hardware? Does they use Dell hardware? Or does they use any kind of a brand? So it is very simple. AWS uses Intel processor, which manufactured Intel processor with their own hardware manufactured in China, works with JSON and YAML programming, or you can say script based language. AWS uses what? Intel processor with their own hardware manufactured in China, works with JSON or YAML programming or script based language. So in the background, Amazon uses this processor. Amazon uses this hardware. It's their own proprietary hardware, works with JSON and YAML based technology. Clear?
Yes, Samir, clear.
Okay. Now, you know what is virtualization? You know how exactly these data centers are set up, right? And the complete hierarchy on your AWS. Now, coming to few things. Now, how these services are being set up? What are these services? And in AWS Solution Architect course, how they have been organized, right? So first thing is that now to understand this, you need to understand about the compute. What is compute?
To run our data.
Compute is nothing but computer, nothing but which consists of CPU, memory, network, disk, operating system, right? So if you need any kind of a computing in your AWS platform, Amazon has multiple services. There are different types of services are there. But in Solution Architect, we are mostly concentrated on service called as EC2. EC2 is nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud. So Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic means yesterday only I told you. Stretchable, unlimited, expandable. Compute. Compute means virtual machines, operating systems in the cloud. So this is my first topic, means that is my first service which I am going to learn in my AWS Solution Architect Associate, which talks about servers, which talks about operating systems, which talks about templates, which talks about local firewall. So Pramod was asking, right? So Pramod, this is the first topic in Amazon which you are going to learn as a service. Okay. So this topic teaches about server technology, which explains you about how to deploy the Windows machines, how to deploy Linux machines, how to deploy third-party machines, which covers you the in EC2. This is my first service. Now,
even your voice is cutting. Your voice.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Samir, your voice is breaking.
Is it again now also?
Yeah.
I was able to hear fine.
Is it for everyone?
Samir was audible to me too.
Yeah, now it's working. Yeah.
Okay. So this is my EC2. This is my first topic. Then once servers are ready, then what is the next? The connectivity. So connectivity comes under which portfolio? Network, right? So for the servers to work, you need to have the connectivity. In the connectivity, in the second topic, you will be learning a topic called as VPC in AWS. VPC talks about virtual private cloud. What is VPC? It talks about virtual private cloud. Means in VPC, you will understand about what is the networking in AWS, what kind of a firewalls you can create in AWS, how to connect to the internet in AWS, how to configure the subnets in AWS, how to configure the VPNs in AWS, how to make an on-premises to your AWS connectivity, what kind of a direct connect connectivity we have, what kind of a flexibility Amazon is giving you, what kind of a public IPs Amazon is giving you, what kind of an elastic IP Amazon is giving you. After the compute layer, we will learn something called as network. In the network, we learn something called as VPC. Then we will learn about a topic called as direct connect, so which talks about how to connect from my on premises to AWS platform. Means on premises to AWS platform, AWS to AWS platform. How do we do the connectivity part? That we'll discuss in direct connect. Then we have a topic in the networking called as Route 53, which is about DNS, means domain naming service, which talks about all kinds of DNS services in your AWS. Like how do I create name, DNS services? How do I establish name services? How do I create domains? How do I buy the domains? How do I configure the domains? All those things you will learn from your Route 53. So this is about networks, means after the server, after the OS, you will learn about the network. Now, after the network, what will you learn? You will learn about a topic called as storage, because you know the compute layer, you know the network layer. Then what is that layer you should understand? Storage. Storage is nothing but where you find all kinds of store the data, where you can store different types of data. Here you will learn about EBS, which is called as Elastic Block Store. You will learn about a topic called as EFS, Elastic File Store. You will learn about a topic called as S3, which is nothing but simple storage service. And then you learn about S3 Glacier, which is nothing but for the backup storage. Then you will learn about a topic called as storage gateway. In the brackets, we call it as hybrid cloud, right? So you will learn about EBS, you will learn about EFS, you will learn about S3, you will learn about S3 Glacier, you will learn about storage gateway, and we have something called as Snowball, which is about storing or migrating the data from on the user. So all these are nothing but the storage. Means once the compute layer is done, then when you'll discuss about the network layer, then you'll discuss about the layer. So once the storage is done, then what will we having? We'll have something called as database, right? Here you will learn about RDS, relational database service. Like what is Oracle database, what is SQL database, what is MySQL database, how exactly in AWS this
Samir,
data.
Samir, I'm so sorry, but if somebody is not
Some-
speaking, I would request them to put them on hold.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll discuss about RDS database. We'll discuss about different types of databases, right? So relational database service we'll discuss. We'll discuss about in relational database SQL, Oracle, and multiple databases we will discuss. Then we have one more thing called as non-relational database. So here we'll discuss about non-relational database services, which is in Amazon we have non-relational databases are there, like MongoDB. How we have non-relational database like this, there are certain databases are there which we'll discuss, like DynamoDB. Like this, we have different types of databases are there which we will discuss in our database topic. So then apart from it, there is a Neptune. There are different types of databases are there which will go into the overview on those databases and how we can use those databases. So once the network is done, once the storage is done, once the database is done, then comes the topic called as securities. So in securities, we'll discuss about IAM. IAM is nothing but identity access management. In this IAM, we'll discuss about user creations, group creations, AWS policies. We'll discuss how do you apply the policies, and how to create a your own policies, how to apply those policies to these users, how to apply the policies to the groups, how to configure the integration. All those things we'll discuss in IAM. Apart from the IAM, we also have something called as directory services, right? Directory services are nothing but in AWS, you'll learn about directory services, which will explain you about Active Directory integration in Amazon. How do you integrate the Active Directory part in AWS? All these things you will discuss, like, what kind of a directories are there, what kind of a cognito poles you can create in AWS, and how do I integrate my on-premises Active Directory with my AWS. So those things we'll discuss in directory services. Apart from it, we have other services like CloudWatch for monitoring. We have CloudFront. We have one service for content delivery. We have SQS service for querying. We have SNS service for notification. We have SES service for email, right? CloudWatch, CloudFront, SQS, SNS, SES, right? We have these kind of services which comes under other services. One is for monitoring, one is for notification, one is for querying, one is for email. Like this, we have other services. Apart from it, we also have a development service which allows you to create templates through the Java policies, which are called as CloudFormation templates, to make IaaS infrastructure as a code. If you want to do it, we have a service called as CloudFormation service, which talks about infrastructure as a code. And we also have some kind of a services called as auto scaling and ELB, which is nothing but which talks about how do I scale when there is a high load. And it also discusses about a topic called as elastic load balancer, ELB, which is nothing but if there is a high load on the application level, if there is a high load on the server level, if there's a high load on the network side, so what kind of a load balancing we can define, what kind of a load balancers Amazon will provide you. All these things will come under auto scaling and load balancing topics. Like this, we have certain syllabus which covers in your solution architect associate. From this we will go. So we'll start with EC2, then we'll go slowly with all these services covering down the line for next couple of months. Clear?
Okay, sir. Which duration, मतलब इसमें duration कितना लगेगा? How much duration of time we will cover in this much of syllabus?
Okay.
Samir, one question. So will we be covering any DevOps tool like Docker or Jenkins or Chef?
No.
Okay.
No DevOps at all. If you want to get into DevOps, then you need to go into a topic called as AWS Developer Associate.
And Samir, so all this will be a theoretical section, or
No,
we will have some
theoretical
interactive
and lab,
dashboards also?
both. Theory and lab both.
Okay.
And Samir, networking background is mandatory for this.
Very good question. Somebody asked me in the chat. Yes, so
Yes,
you
same.
should have
Thank you,
the
sir.
networking skills.
Need.
Yes. No need to have depth knowledge. You will learn it, but if you have advantage, because in AWS, for the solution architect, you need to have server knowledge. You should have virtualization knowledge, networking knowledge, storage and database, and some basic programming. These are the fundamentals which are required. All this, no need to have expert knowledge. If you are beginner is also fine, and professional is also fine.
Samir, first we will be covering IAM, right?
So there are two ways to cover. First, we can cover the directly IAM, or first we can cover the base layer, now server layer, then we can cover IAM.
Yeah. Okay.
Clear?
Yeah. Okay. We can go ahead.
Yeah. So these are the different types of services what we have in our AWS. Right now, how will I access this AWS is the question. How can I create whatever the services I want to use, like server, network, storage, programming, commands, and all those things? How do I access it? So AWS basically provides three ways of connectivity. One is called as AWS Management Console, is nothing but a graphical console where you can connect. Second one is called as AWS API plus SDK. Okay. Third one is CLI. These three ways you can manage your AWS. The primary one, which is nothing but management console, because it is a graphical. Means if you have this AWS management console, it's a graphical console. You can log in directly onto AWS platform and you can do whatever you want. You can log in, you can create, you can manage without any problems. It's very pretty easy. Log into the graphical console, create the account and log in, and you will get all the services access. Whichever the service you want, you can log in and easily you can access it. This is the first way and easiest way to manage. Now you say that, sir, I don't want to go with AWS console. I want to have my own console or my own planned way of connecting. And do we have any other options to connect? So there are there's a different ways to connect. So this is one way. And now if you say that you have developed in your company your own platform and your own console, can I integrate with my own console? Yes, you can integrate. For that you need to contact AWS for API and SDK to integrate with your own console, so that the backend will be AWS but front end will be your own console. If you want to do it, that is one option. Now you want to do some kind of a connectivity, and you want to do through commands, you want to deploy something, right? You want to create an instances or create some services and work on some services via command line. Amazon also has an option called as AWS CLI, which is a ready-made package which you can download from internet and you can install and you can connect. But thing is that in CLI you cannot access all the services. Some services will work in CLI, but if you want to access any service directly from Amazon, we have only graphical console which can provide you all access to all the services. But AWS API SDKs also can provide you for all the access because you are integrating with the SDKs. But CLI is only for the limited, like EC2 and some network configurations for the database creation. So basic stuff and all through command line. If you want to connect and you want to do it, it uses basically the Linux command and you can start working on it. So all these are the three different options. You will get it for your connectivity purpose.
These are free, or we have to pay some charges?
Okay, now there is no charge. This is a connectivity. The moment you create an account, you get all this. So you need to the graphical console, you can log in and you can access it. Okay, now when you create an account, what is the process? How do I create an account in AWS? In creating an AWS account is pretty easy. You just need to log into okay, 1 second. So I'll just quickly share my screen. So go to Google and type AWS Management Console. If you type AWS Management Console, it will take you just a second. Okay, just a second. Yeah, so if you go here, AWS Management Console, so here if you click on this AWS Management Console, this console will allow you to connect. So if you click log back in, now I already have my username and password, so I'm able to log in. But in your case, if I say sign out and if I say sign into the console, it will give me an option for the connectivity for the access. So here you get an option called as create a new AWS account. Can you see this?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So if you click on this create a new AWS account, it will ask you your email ID, your password and details. So see here, AWS accounts includes 12 months of free tier access. So by default, account is free for 12 months. Okay. However, in the services also, some of the services, they will provide you 12 months of free tier, means free tier you can access for 12 months. Okay. And in free tier, some services, they'll provide you 750 hours duration of the service is free. Some they provide you for 30 hours. So depends on each and everything. There are certain tier limit is there. So you need to check what limit is available for you. So accordingly, you need to consume. So by default, maximum laps you can do it with your free tier access only. But in case you did something and you forgot to delete and you left it for 2 months, 3 months or something like that, and your free tier period of 750 hours got expired, then the charge will be coming. Now you will get a doubt, sir, will they charge directly with my credit card or debit card? So see, when you log in with an account, either you can use your debit card or a credit card. They will just take that card only for the authentication purpose, not for the not removing or deducting from your account. For the authentication purpose, they will charge two rupees, and again they'll refund back your 2 rupees. And once you log into the account, you will have an access to the all the services, and you can do all kinds of labs. In suppose if you missed anything and you got a bill, so what you need to do is that you need to raise a request to the AWS saying that you have done that for the purpose of the labs as a student, so they will waive off. Or in case if not, you can either you can create a service ticket, they will do that waive off. So make sure that once you are done with the lab, you delete it, so no bills, nothing will come. But in case if you forgot or anything, no need to worry, they are not going to deduct directly unless you do the, or unless you inform them for the deduction. Suppose some people, what they do is that they host their infrastructure, they use as a production, then definitely if you're using as a production and you're trying to consume, then there will be a charge. So but its account is free, you can just log in and you can create your account. You can give your email ID, password and account name, continue. The moment you give these details, automatically the account creation will happen and you will be able to access it. So in my case, I already have the account which has been created, so I can just use that account. So by default, I can use the, based on my account creation, I can log in and I can use. So I have an account, so I'm logging in. So
Hi Samir. Hello. हेलो
या
हाय समीर, एक डाउट था मुझे, जो हम लोग ये अकाउंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं, ये अकाउंट पर्टिकुलर जो एक्सेस कर रहा है सर्विस उसका है या फिर जिस क्लाइंट के लिए हम लोग कर रहे हैं उसका अकाउंट क्रिएट करना ही है?
क्या बोल रहे हैं, समझ नहीं आता।
सपोज मैं एक क्लाइंट हैंडल कर रहा हूँ, राइट? तो जब मैं अकाउंट ये क्रिएट कर रहा हूँ, ये अकाउंट मुझे उस क्लाइंट के लिए क्रिएट करना है या फिर मेरे खुद के लिए करना है?
इसके लिए क्लाइंट का डिफरेंट हो जाता है, दिस इज जस्ट ए नॉर्मल फॉर द प्रैक्टिस फॉर योर ओन अकाउंट।
ओके
ओके,
सो इफ इन केस अगर मुझे मेरा क्लाइंट है सपोज, और मुझे क्लाइंट को कुछ सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करने हैं या लाइक स्टोरेज प्रोवाइड करना है या फिर कुछ करना है, तो उसके लिए मुझे
कर सकते हो। एंड जो भी बिल आता है, बिलिंग डैशबोर्ड में जाके अगर आपको बिल सेपरेट करना है तो आइसोलेट भी कर सकते हो क्लाइंट के हिसाब से।
ओके ओके, तो एट अ टाइम मैं ऐसे कितने क्लाइंट हैंडल कर सकता हूँ मेरे एक सिंगल अकाउंट से?
तो सिंगल अकाउंट से अगर करोगे तो आपको बहुत मुश्किल हो जाएगा। क्यों मुश्किल हो जाएगा? सॉरी, आई एम स्पीकिंग इन हिंदी। ओके, सो see, if you do from a single client, and if you have multiple clients with a single account, if you do to distributing the bills and sending the bills accordingly, it will be very tough, because it will come a single account, you will get the bill. Like for example, if you go to the Prashant Purohit, if you say my billing dashboard, it will generate a bill for overall services. It will not understand, like for example, you can see, right, 3 rupees 72 paisa got charged. So now this is for the month of so and so date, right? So it will not understand whether you used for client X or client Y or client Z. Okay, if you want in that way, what you need to do is that Amazon has a different service for creating multi account creation. So basically, if you are having multiple clients and you want to maintain as a client based solution, Amazon having a different service altogether for that kind of a solution. So where you can use multiple clients you can manage, and you can create, and you can do it like every time. You don't need to worry about it, and you can go and you can create the accounts in that particular client. So that is called as AWS Control Tower. This is, you can read here, this the easiest way to set up and govern a secure complaint multi-account environment. If you want to have multiple accounts for each and every client in your production, they basically use this solution called as multi-account in AWS environment. They set up something called as AWS Control Tower. So with this control tower, you can create customer-wise one account, and you can automate it. And those accounts, you'll get a bill based on that account, whatever they use, they'll get the bill, so that there is no conflict. Okay. But if you, for a testing purpose and all, we are just going with a normal single account.
Okay. So this part are we covering in our syllabus?
Multi-account and all this will come under AWS advanced level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Samir, Nanjin here. Samir, like you said about management console, like basically when we enroll through Websun, the management console should be given from their side, right? Instead of we creating a free tier.
Yeah, pardon? They no. So basically, any labs, it is a free tier. So everyone need to create their own accounts. So this has been for all the batches. We are giving this. It's their own account. You can log in anytime for 1 year, and you can consume it. Means you can use it. So there's no charge for as such, as I told you, because it's a free tier. If you are using any production, or if you're in consuming anything, then you can anything. If you're doing as a production labs, anything if you're doing, then it will be there. But maximum everything, if you go to EC2, it is free. If you go to any service, there is 750 free hours is there, which you can use for your AWS.
Okay. And another thing, Samir, you said about EFS, EC2, everything. What about billing session?
Pardon? What
billing.
is it? Billing? What? I didn't understand.
Yeah, services. It has been included in this.
Yeah. You will learn.
Okay, fine, sure.
Okay, so once you log into this console, you get like this, the console will be there. On the right side, you will have something called as, can you see this? These are nothing but data centers. Okay, so always remember that you need to select Mumbai, because Mumbai is the nearest data center for you. So it will be always very fast and accessible. So always recommended, best practice to select the Mumbai data center. So whenever you click on that, it will take you to that particular data center. On the right side corner, you have something called as different types of documentation, like forums, documentation, training, like, where you can get all kinds of knowledge based articles from AWS. And if you click on the name of the account, that account will have the account details and what kind of an organization, what kind of a service quotas you have, and what is your monthly bill you're going to get, whatever based on the usage, and your credentials and sign out. Sign out is nothing but log out, right? All this you'll get it when you click on your name details. And when you click on services, here there are so many services are there. Remember here, AWS, when you click on services, there are so many services. Every service is not meant for solution architect associates. Some services are for machine learning people. Some services are for network experts. Some services are for the developers. Some services are for the application owners. So different technologies are embedded in a single cloud. So what you will learn is that in each of the services which are very important for the solution architect, like in the compute layer EC2, in the network layer VPC, CloudFront, Route 53, like this, there are certain services are there which you will take the ownership on learning those. There are IoT services are there that is meant for the IoT team. There are workspaces services are there. Like this, there are different services are there. There's machine learning. This is for the people who learns machine learning in the cloud. Like this, there are so many services are there. But for us, it depends upon use case to use case. Based on the architecture course, you need to go and click on that service and start using it. For example, let's assume I want to learn or if I want to deploy some servers, which I told you, it is nothing but EC2 service. The moment I go to the EC2 service, it will allow me to create, deploy the machines, whatever I want in this particular service. So this is how I will use the connectivity part in my AWS. So connect to the console and then you can access this and you can do it. Anybody has any questions?
No, Samir, so far so good.
Samir, do we need to install AWS command line interface also?
Not required.
Okay.
If you want to test it when I launch the Linux instance, that time I'll show you.
Okay.
Hi Samir, we discussed yesterday. I have one doubt. You told me that we will cover it tomorrow. So we discussed like cloud type, public, private. So these points where we will cover in which topic?
So see, let's assume when we discuss about EC2, right? When I say launch instance, because we have not started this topic, as I told you, next week we are going to get it. So our first topic. So when I click on, machine deployment, when I click on next, right? So here I get an option. So whenever I try to deploy the machines, you have the different types of machines availability. So public, private, everything I can define. So how does this works is that you can see here on the left side of this instance types, when I say instance normal, which comes under public, there is something called as dedicated host. Can you read this?
Yes.
So here, if I am trying to deploy a dedicated host, which is nothing but which comes under private cloud, which is dedicated to your organization. Okay. Or if I go to a networking concept, okay, and when I say select here and I say create a VPC, okay, so here can you see this name called tenant?
Yes.
Here there is an option called dedicated.
Okay.
If it is a default means public, if it is dedicated means private. Okay. So like this, in every topic, you will get public and private cloud options.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. What are the other doubts?
No, that's it.
Samir, Sneha here.
Yeah, Sneha.
For the database also, we need to do the same process.
Yes. For the database also, if you go here, RDS. So once we learn about the RDS, when you click on RDS, right? So you will have different types of database available in AWS. When I log in here, when I click on the database, so create a database. When I click on that create a database, if I scroll down, I am getting an option. Can you see this? What kind of a database you want? Amazon is providing its own database called as Aurora. Amazon is providing MySQL. Amazon is providing Maria. Amazon is providing SQL, PostgreSQL, Oracle, MySQL Server. Again, in every database, again, there are versions are there. So if you go with Oracle, again, it will provide you Enterprise Edition, Standard Edition, or Standard Edition 1. So again, apart from it, it also explains you about what kind of a configuration you want. So like this, each and every topic, again, it has its own configuration. Along with that, versions also you can see what kind of a versions it's supported. Oracle 12, Oracle 11, you can see, right?
Yes.
So like this, you will get in each and every service, you have all these options available for your use cases. It's a basically a ready-made platform. What you need, everything is available. So one guy is from a database background, he will ask a database. Other guy is from storage background, he will ask a storage. Amazon is providing you storage. If you go to storage, here all storages are there. If you go to database, all databases are there. If you want to do the migration, all migration strategies are there. You need networking, all networking options are there. Some developer is there, he want to do some coding work, there are so many coding tools are there. Okay, some guys from the machine learning, for him there is a machine learning options are there, right? Some guys from the media services, where he want to use it, we have media services are there. Some guy who want to work on the application hubs, we have the application hubs. Some guy who want to do the integration, we have the integration. People who want to work on somebody asked me about just now, like how do the integration works, like I told you, which comes under the developer associate. So we have something called as API gateways, where how to integrate the APIs, that all we will discuss here on the developer part, right? In the backend, you can read here, it works with following backends: Lambda and HTTP. What is Lambda? Lambda is again a service which will be taught in your AWS developer associate. We'll understand at a high level, but what is Lambda? Lambda is nothing but a platform where we cover the execution of the Python or JSON code. If you want to execute Python, Node.js, AngularJS, any kind of a coding, and you want to do a serverless computing, we have Lambda service. So like this, everywhere there are different services are there. You have a security services, you have complaint services, we have multi-account services, we have application integration services. Like this, there are different types of services are there. Any other questions?
Hello, sir. Sir, I have one question. If my one of the user is in the Hyderabad and one is in the Singapore, if both will working with the AWS, matlab they have taken the AWS cloud and they are deploy some software like HR management and something tools like that, then how they can operate in the same application in Singapore also and same in Hyderabad also?
This is basically connectivity. Singapore user account will be different, no?
Sir, we are taking a private one private IP address for that.
That's fine. Account, you're logging in with your account, whether you connect from Singapore or Mumbai or from Delhi, account wise you're connecting with your own account, right? So you're accessing your application only. You're logging into the AWS with your application. You're not logging in with some other different thing, right? You just log in.
Actually, when we are set up in our organization, then we require a router and ISP, and that we will
Nothing required. You don't need anything. All you need is that internet connectivity. That's it. You just need an internet connectivity, and you need to have the AWS console access. I need to create an IAM user account and give you the account. You can log in from anywhere. Let's say you don't have an account, you have the users. I'll go here, IAM, and I'll go here, and you want to use the AWS service and you want to use any kind of a service. I'll go here, I click on user. Now also, if you want, I'll create one user and I'll say, okay, Saurabh, I created one user, and what kind of an access you want? You want a graphical access or you want a command line access? Let's assume I given a graphical access. Then it will ask me what kind of a policies you want to assign for this user. If I say that, no policies, you will not get anything. Let's assume I given an administrator access. You can access to any of the AWS service. If I give you this, next, create user, Saurabh account got created. And if I share you this URL with you, and with this use password, you can log in and you can access anything. You learn all those things. You learn. Okay. So all these are the different service.
Samir, this course duration is 2 months, isn't it?
See, basically 40 hours. So it will take 2.5 months, Saturday, Sundays.
Okay, okay.
Okay. और कुछ डाउट्स है?
Sir, how we will transfer that that private IP address to the public? Means what are the application we are using in the private we
You
can
learn,
use in
sir.
the private.
You learn all those things. As I told you, once we start the networking topic, private IP, public IPs, and all those things, we'll get into it. Okay. We are just discussing about the fundamentals, and as I told you, the course curriculum. The first topic is EC2, and once you complete the server side and everything, then you will get a network side. So where you will understand about what is private IP, what is public IP, what are the types of connectivities are there, what is VPN connection, how do you access to the private connectivity, how do I connect with the public connectivity, what from if I am accessing from my laptop, how will I access, if I am connecting from my office environment, how will I connect, all those things you will get to learn.
Means here we will also learn ARPA and NAT protocols, different protocols we will learn here.
You will not learn any protocols. You will learn about the technologies used in the networking with those protocols. You will not learn anything underlying technology here because your ARPA, all those things, so you're already aware it. So AWS is a platform which is already been built with all those things. You will learn about how to do a NATing in AWS. You'll learn about how to create a network in AWS. You'll learn about how to configure a subnets in AWS. You'll learn about how to protect and how to restrict your content on the AWS. And if you ask me, how to do the VPN connections, how to establish an connectivity on the on-premises, all those things you will learn. But what is IP address, what is protocol, those things you will not learn because it's already been IP address. What is IP address, what is protocol, this is already the requirement which you need to have knowledge in before getting into the any kind of a cloud technology. Now, how to set up, how to configure the network, how to configure the subnets in AWS, all those things you will learn. How to configure the NATing, you will learn. How to make the NATing work in the AWS platform, how to create a connectivity, those all things you'll learn.
Samir, one question, whether we need to create the user account to log in into AWS ourselves or you will give user
No,
to
you need to see there are two ways. Okay. So basically thing is that, as I told you, you just need to create your own accounts in AWS so that you have an access to 1 year and you can do whatever the labs you need. Okay. So these IAM accounts are nothing but further, if you want to assign it to your colleagues or your friends who want to access and they want to do anything, you can do it.
No, it's okay. But suppose I get some problem. I have installed some machine and I want to imply some policies. And if I get failed, how you will assist me?
No, I will show you labs, right? And when I'm teaching you, I'll give you the theory and labs. So you'll understand when I'm teaching you the labs.
No, if I get any problem, but I am unable to create that, or I am just not able to understand that how I imply the policies and something like that. How will take my console and solve it?
So when I think in the when we are in the class you're telling or offline you're talking?
Class in class.
Class I will share. No, I will make you the presenter and you can share me the screen and I can take the control.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
समीर जितना भी लैब होगा जो भी आई मीन यूजर क्रिएशन है या पॉलिसी क्रिएशन है या रोल क्रिएशन है वो सब रूट अकाउंट से ही होगा ना रूट अकाउंट क्रिएट करना
आप रूट से भी कर सकते हो यूजर से भी कर सकते हो all the options are available.
Yeah.
Okay.
One question, sir. After learning this much of stuff, what is the chances where we can apply for our jobs and?
Very good question. After this learning, where can I apply for a job is the thing. So see, it all depends on how you put your profile, okay, and what kind of an opportunity you're trying for, right? So in AWS, there are different types of opportunities are there. AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Cloud Consultant, AWS Cloud Operations Manager, AWS Cloud Architect, AWS, the different types of roles are there. However, it also depends on your past experience, what experience you have and which technology you have, and how you can make use of the technology and create your own profile. That also matters. Once you have that properly understanding of those profiles, then definitely yes, you can get into an opportunity. So remember here, what happens is that most of the people will learn the technology, Amazon or Azure or whatever the cloud or different skills. But how much properly you put your resume? I can see, like, if you're existing, if you see whatever you're doing in the present job also, we don't put our proper profile with, whatever, the major points, what we're doing, day-to-day activities, what kind of a, environment you're working. The moment you start putting all those things, you will get that exposure and other things, right? So it all depends on how you provide your profile and how you propagate your profile properly in the portals. Then only you will get the opportunity of getting the calls will be more. So because see, the recruiters who want to hire, right, what they'll do is that they will do just Control C, Control F, Control V. You know what is that? They'll see, okay, they got the requirement.
Yeah, they will search their skill by controlling F and doing a control F.
Yeah, so they'll just search, okay, हाँ ये टॉपिक है बंदे के पास, हाँ ये स्किल नहीं है, छोड़ो, इसको शॉर्टलिस्ट नहीं करते हैं. ओके, हाँ ये टॉपिक दिख रहा है, उसको शॉर्टलिस्ट करते हैं. तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, बिफोर गोइंग फॉर एन इंटरव्यू, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल योर प्रोफाइल शुड गेट शॉर्टलिस्टेड, right? So to get the profile shortlisted, you should put your profile properly with all kinds of skill set. Once your profile is properly skill set is updated and you have the proper understanding on the each and every service and the technology, and with your old existing experience, and then you need to showcase. Like for example, in this class, some people might be from database background, some people might be from network background, some people might be from storage background, some people might be from different background. Now everyone are coming in a single platform called as cloud. Whether it's a network or a storage guy or a database guy, everyone are into a single platform, right?
Right.
So when you are into single platform, what happens is that this all so let's assume one guy is from database background. Now he learned cloud. Now how he can upskill his requirement and how he can put his profile is a question. So now database guy can, what he can do, okay, he's learned AWS cloud, but how that fits me in the cloud. Now for that, what he need to do is that he need to tweak his profile, saying that, okay, working in AWS cloud database migrations, working on from on-premises databases to AWS databases, started migrating on-premises Oracle database to cloud databases. So you will learn what is RDS. You will learn what are the types of database in AWS. These all things you will learn. Now, what is that migration is something which you need to do additional work. So when you put that in your profile, that person understands that, whoever is the hiring guy, he will understand that this guy has a cloud knowledge. Along with that, he also has the database migration knowledge, because his old profile is from database. He also has the database, so he can mention it as a cloud database expert, cloud database architect, cloud database consultant, cloud database migration expert. Like that they can put the profile. So I'm just giving one database guy example. Some guy will be network guy, some guy will be developer, some developer, how they can put so many things. They can put as, they are doing the development work on the cloud platform, they are doing the automation work on the cloud platform, they are writing the codes to automate the infrastructure. Like this, so many use cases they can implement and they can put in the profile. What I would suggest is that once after the course completion, whoever wants the help on the profile, they can offline, they can connect with me in my WhatsApp number and I can help them.
Sir, next question. When we complete this course, we will go for a AWS certification. Then how it will helpful this course is?
Okay, now see, certification is something which industry looks for, but if you ask my personal opinion, I would suggest first is subject. Okay, And certification, yes, it matters for certain positions. Like if you are going for certain companies, right? They'll ask you for the certification. Have you done or not? Right? So what you learn and what you write the exam, there are two different ways of doing it. Okay. What you learn is a subject, a topic, and in that, what all things you can do, that you learn. But when you go for a certification, it will ask you about, different ways of using that service. So two different aspects. Now to clear the certification, there are so many dumps are available. I'll share you the dumps. 99.999% you can pass. That 0.1% luck, bad luck. We can't say, like, if your luck is not good and your dump is changed, then it's very tough. But however, if you have a subject without a dump also, you can analyze and you can think and you can write. That's the reason first preference will be for the subject, second preference for your dump. However, if you ask me, like, is it mandatory to have a certification? It's again use case to use case. Some companies will ask certification and some companies does not ask the certification. They just look for the subject.
Okay.
Samir, do you provide, placements, and how the placements, how the students are prepared for the placements?
You need to contact for that. I'm a trainer, like how you are. I'm just training. So for the placements, you need to contact the backend team.
Samir, are there you in this group, AWS 12 p.m. new batch group?
Yeah, I think I'm there. Yeah.
By what number?
7022247222.
Okay. Group admin. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you. So again, we'll catch up next weekend. If you have anything, you can reach out to me. Okay.
Sir, please add my number also in that group.
I will definitely tell. I think Saurabh is the admin, so I'll inform him who handles this students accessibility and everything. They can connect. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.